Welcome back, guys. So this is where we left it off. We imported everything and then we still have that. So I was thinking that obviously because we're not going to be creating like this heavy functionalities, I'll omit 1, 2, 3 and I'll just have Quora on the left, home and notifications and this and that, because the answer and everything is functionalities that we won't be looking at. So but then I hope you guys are keen for this. But then the main what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be making it on the navigation bar and then having this box. Next video we're going to be looking at authentication using server-side cookies, express session. I'm keen for that. And then yeah, so if you guys like these videos, and please like, share, comment and subscribe, and tell me how the sound is on this video, because I saw that some of you said that the sound was not looking good, and I tried my best to improve it. But then if it's not looking good even right now, tell me and then I'll see what to do with this. So let's get started. So this is the containers that I'm getting setting up. So yeah, I will need the logo container, and then I place that container here, and we say yeah we need the logo, and this will be the company logo. So I'm omitting some of the navigation bars because I know for a fact that we won't be doing those things. So yeah, I'll say home, and then I will add the home icon with an H4 saying home, and then I will add the notification, right, which will be the left notifications web. I'll say notifications and an H4 saying notifications, right. And then finally, not finally, but then on the center I need my input, which will have a type of text and a placeholder saying search, and then I'll have the search icon. And then finally now here on this one we need the right underscore user. So this is where we're gonna have the avatar component there. We have the src, we have the alt. Here we're saying user profile, right, and then we have nothing there. And then finally we have that language icon, and then we have the button that will say ask question. I don't know if it was capital letters, but then if it is, we'll fix that. And then so we have that, right, so it is a capital, or it is add question. It is add question, right. And then we have this content right here. So this is looking bad, so let's just come to starting this. So we have our style sheet folder which is empty. Now let's create a header.css. so that is what we need, and then we can bring this here, and then we want to import that style sheet. And then what we want to do is we want to display flex, right. So we say display me flex, and then align items center, and then obviously that won't be visible because of our image. So what we want to do is we want to say so what I'm thinking here, because this is wrapped around this whole thing, right, so we want to deal with this because the image will always be 100%, but then if we reduce the container of the image will always scale, right. So that's what I'm thinking. So I want to say this should be a width of 30%, right. So I'm thinking of things like that with regards to, okay, and why isn't that reducing, right? So that's not a problem, right? So what we then do is we then say class, this should always be 100% if I'm not mistaken. This should be the left underscore logo image, right? And then in this logo image, what we're going to do is we're going to give it a width of 100%. Should always be 100% of what it is. As you can see now, it's no more exaggerating the content of the width, right? So I don't know why it was not 100% initially. So now we're interested in scaling that container, right, whereby where this thing is situated. So if I say 20%, right, and that should be looking good by me, unless maybe this thing is not refreshing. So now we're looking good on this image, right? So there it's just some simple responsive approach that you can look into, so that here you're not scaling the image, but then you're scaling the container whereby it's held to be reduced, and having this image fill up that entire container. Some simple things that you can look at. So now what we want to deal with is we want to have this displaying flex. We also want to have this displaying flex, so we're gonna group them because we're gonna give them the same styling. So this is what we do so that we do not repeat ourselves. Remember the concept of dry, guys. Dry says don't repeat yourself. And then we say display flex, and then we want to align items center, right? And I don't know why. Okay, this is weird. Why isn't my CSS being applied? This is weird. What's happening here? What's happening here? Can I see something? This is weird, guys, like honestly. No, display flex, just display flex of that. Okay, that is displaying flex, but then why wasn't it displaying flex when I edit the left notifications? It's not displaying flex, it's fine, okay. So but then now remember that all this left containers and everything, they are embedded within the header left. So we want to put everything on top because the header left, everything is below the header left, if you understand what I'm trying to say. We have the header left, and then we have the left logo, and then the left home. This is how I like to style my CSS, so that it makes sense to me when I come back and review this code. Right, that's how I like to do my stuff. So now my CSS working just, I don't know, guys, what was happening there. So now we have that working just fine. So now what we can do is we have that aligned properly, right? So we can just margin this to the left of 0.4 ems, just some slight spacing there. Let's just say 0.8. Okay, so the thing is, I do not want that other one, which is the left home container, to be moving. So what I'll be doing is, I don't want the home to be moving, I just want the notification to be moving. That's where it's time to grab this left notification alone and margin right it, not the right man, margin left it of 0.4 ems, right? Because I only want that one to be moving. Let's give it a 0.6, and then we have that decent amount of spacing. However, remember that also on this, with displaying flex, we want to align the item centers. You can see those icons were now aligned properly with their letters and everything. But then remember, when we add the home page, we want to highlight this thing with the color here. So in order to get this color, let's grab color picker. It's a great extension that you guys might want to look into. And then I use the picker, and I click on that. Here we go. Alright, so now I have the color. So now how I think they're doing this. So this is the first time of me. Let me just put this CSS right here. So this is how I think they're doing this whole thing of when you're at the home page, you do this, all that. So here we have a const window, right, and then we say window dot location dot href, and that should give us where we at. So let's alert window. Because I'm using a location, I don't know if that location is equal to window dot location dot href. So let's alert location so that you guys can see right here that I'm trying to pick up the location at which I'm at on this window. And then why is that not doing that? So yeah, so right now I want to pick up where I'm at on this location. You can see I'm at localhost 3000. So now what we do is, we know when we're at localhost 3000 like that, we're at the home page. So now what we do is we add some logic to our home thing, right? We use curly brackets, we use backticks, curly brackets, and now we say that location, and we can remove this alert. So we say location is equal to http that localhost 3000 slash. If that is the case, right, I want to have a class name of current location, else I just want to have null, right? So that is the logic that we will be having here. So let me show you guys that should work. So now right here I want to have this class of called current location, and in this current location I want to give it a background color. I think it's a background color of, I need to copy that color. I have this color here. So I want to copy this color, so it's hashtag that color, and then I also want to have a border bottom of 1 pixel solid that color, but then remembering the hashtag. Right, so now that should work. So it's not a background, it's a color. It's a background. I think it's a color because background is now ruining everything. I think they're just using color. Exactly, so they're using color, and that is working fine. So we see that we add the home page, and then now let's just add, it's just a copy and paste of the same logic to the other one, but then obviously changing the URL because the other URL is notifications. So what do I mean by this is we come here to the class name of notifications, we wrap this around in curly brackets, we have that backtick. So this is basically how I'd go about this, and then we can copy this logic here. So, and then here we change this to notifications, right? So now that obviously won't show up because we're not at notifications, we are here. So now let's come to the center, right? So this is also me trying to help you guys on maybe how you could think about building the next clone on your own. Basically I'm doing this live, not live because it will be pre-recorded. You guys will see a record, and then if you guys want me to do maybe a live, I'll be keen to do that if you guys will be joining and everything. And then we do that, align item center, right? And then what we do is we then want to margin this to the right of, let's say, 20%. Let's say 25%. Right. So now there's now, okay, let's continue with that center, right? So now in the center we have the input. Let's say class name of this input field is center underscore underscore input field, and we get that. Don't forget to save. And that input field, we wanna, it's copying the wrong things here. So we say that input field, we wanna have a border of none. Let me just show you what I mean. As you can see, it's white, there's nothing. But then we want to have the container to have a border of 1 pixel, solid ocean blue. Is it there? Let's say because they're using this other blue here. Oh, it's when you highlight or when you focus. So when you focus, it has that blue. So basically it's light gray on that side. I think maybe I can pull it off. I've never done something like that. Let's see. So let's have a border of light gray, light gray, and then when we have that light gray, what we want to do is let's see. So we have, is it light gray? Yeah, I'm having light gray instead of light gray. Let's say light gray, and then on that light gray we're looking like that, right? But then when I focus, let's see if this, what I'm thinking is correct. I think it's an on hover effect, if I'm not lying. I can lie, I've never done something like that. I don't know if there is even a pseudo class of focus. There is a focus. Let's see. Let's have a border. Let's have a border of 1 pixel, solid blue. Let's see that. Okay. So it's not working by me, unless maybe I'm not doing it correct. So let's just say we have a hover effect, because that worked also when I was hovering. So you see that hover effect works, right? So let's keep it on hover effect, unless maybe I'm using the focus in a wrong way. So now what we want to do is continue with this thing. We want to have the input field. What's the input field? So when I have this input field, let's give it a width of 200 pixel, and then we have this being a bit long. And then why is this not responding? I don't know why this is not responding. My CSS today has been questionable, has left a lot to be desired. And then this means that I want to just margin left to that, a bit like that, and then let's say 15, and then that should be right there, the center. But then now we're running a lot with regards to that, so that is killing the responsiveness, guys. You never want to do a fixed value like this. This is me just trying to be extreme. Let me not do that, because I'm ruining things here and I don't want Smart to do that. So now what I then do is I come to the right, and then on the right I want to display flex, and then we'll fix this, and we'll definitely fix and see how we can make it a bit more good in a responsive manner than what I was trying to do, because that is absolutely not responsive. And then what I want to do is I want to grab this thing also. So I want to say class name, this will be right underscore icon, and then I want the class name of this to be right underscore btn, let's just say right dash btn, and then this means that I want to take this one, and then I also want to take that one because I want to margin them the same way, and then I also want to take this one. I just have to highlight because it's like that, and then I highlight that. I want to say margin this one to the right of 1m, and then we have that spacing, right? So now we have this looking like this in the center. So let's see if we can responsively enlarge in that center input field. So let's say width of 2m's. Obviously that would be one. What was I even thinking? Let's say 10m's, because m is always responsive than pixels, all day every day. Let me see what I'm ruining the moment okay, so let's just leave it like this because I don't want to ruin like this thing in terms of like responsiveness and everything. However, even though this won't be fully like responsive, but then I'm just looking at the web view of everything. Yeah, so now what we want to do is we want to come to this button, right? So now let's come to this right btn. We want to say border of 999 pixels. So now right there of the bat we should be having that round thingy there. So we want to pad this of 0.3 m's and then 2 m's, right? And then now we have, oh, looking good. Oh, I said border instead of border radius, forgive me. Should be border radius like that. Now we're looking like that, and then let's say 1 because I want it to be flat out. I think it's good. In my eyes it's decent. So now what I want to do is I want to give it a background color of that, and I want to give it a color of, oh, not wheat but then white, right? So we have that looking like this. We looking good in our header, right? So now let's come to making this portion of the site whereby we have this thing, alright? So how then do we do that is we're gonna, so everything will be in the center. Remember that we won't have the sidebars or anything, so we just have this on the center, and then we have the messages or the question in the center. So the sidebars, I don't see a need because we're focusing on the question and answering functionality. So now let's come here, let's say question box.jsx, and then arrayfce. Come on, man, my React, my intelligence, where are you? There we go. So let's say class, and that will be question box, and then let's say h1 just to serve that working question field, right? And then let's import that into our app. Let's have this, and then we say question box, and then that should be there, right? So now let's look at this and then let's visualize this. So off the bat I can see that here I have the, what we call, I have the avatar and I have the name. So currently the name will be hard coded, but then as we have authentication system and all that, we'll definitely get that, right? So and then here basically it's an input field, so it should be pretty much straightforward. And then we end this video, and then next video we look at authentication, and I'll be keen to see you guys there, right? So now yeah, let's import that avatar thing which we'll get from header. So now let's grab that avatar thing, and then we place that there. And then what we do visualizing this is we have a container which is into our box, In this container we have two subchildren, which is this one, avatar, and the name, and then we have that one, and this child alone, which is having the avatar and the name, is a box on its own, and then the input field is a box on its own, displaying column. I hope that made sense. But then if that didn't make sense, let me show you that. So now we have the question box underscore user. So yeah, we have the avatar, which has the src, which is like that, and then there's an alt, which is the user profile, and then in this user profile we'll hardcode the name for now, and the name will say junior, and then now we want the input field. The input field will have a placeholder of text, and then the placeholder would be what is your question. We won't be displaying any links. We'll say what is your question, right? So there we go. So we have that, what is your question, and then we want to have all this centered. So now it's time for make a CSS. So let's say question box.css, and then on that question box let's just kill the header, let's kill app.js, and then let's bring that CSS here. Oh my goodness, we bring that there, say style shit, we bring that there. So now I want to display flex here. I want to align items center. I want to have a flex direction of column, right? So that should be there at my center field, right? And then what then we do is we want to grab this question box thingy, and before we do that we want to margin top this, let's say 2.5 ems. So we have that margined out, and then what then we do is we now have this question box class. I want to display flex of that. Let's see how we're looking. So I display flex of that, as you can see. Let me see something. So I have that displaying flex. Okay, so as you can see right here off the bat, my structuring of this won't be proper. Why? Because now I'm displaying flex of here. It should technically work, but then it's not the proper way at which I wanted to. But then let's just continue. Guess that's it. And I'll say align items center to align the avatar and that thing there. And then what then we do is we now wanna margin bottom, let's say 1.5 ems, and then that is margin bottom to there. And then what we want to do is, if you can see here, let's say border of 1 pixel solid black. So they have their thing bordered here, right? So I believe this should be light gray on what they're doing here, but then I cannot see it properly because of the light and everything. So I'll just use light gray. I don't know if that is the exact color they're using here. So I have a border of light gray, and then I'll give it a width of 80%. I don't want it to be full. Give it a width of 80%, and I'll margin 0 auto. Right, so margin 0 auto is like another responsive thing that you can like use all day every day to have everything that you want at the centered. And then now I'll definitely want to increase this to margin top that down there. So now that's fine if that one doesn't want to be margined topped. we come to the header, right? So everything below the header, I want to margin bottom this with 5 Ms. Clean, easy CSS. Right, so now what we want to do here is when I have this looking like a box, right? So what then we do, let's close this header. So what then we do is we say background of this, background color, let's give it a white. So I'm just playing around with this. They're not having this, but then this is me just having fun right now. 1.5 rem, 2 rem, and 1.5 rem, and then we have a color light gray. Right, there's me playing with CSS right now. They're not having this, but then why not play with some box shadows? Right, so we wanna also on the input field, right? So let's give this input field a class name that will be question box underscore input field. Right, so on this input field, what I want to do is I want to margin bottom so that I can have a bit of space there below that thing there, so you can see now it gets a bit bigger. And then also on the question user, I want to margin top that, let's say 1.5 Ms to bring it like that. So now we're just playing around with here. This is not what they have here, as you can see, but then what we're focusing on is it's the functionality. So we just want to make it as fun as possible for us and just play around with CSS, guys. So if you didn't know about box shadows, you now learned how cards are made, even though that won't be the best card that you'll ever make, but then you know now how cards are made. So now we have that. So now we need a bit of spacing in the name and have the name to be light gray. That's what I'm seeing. So now we say class name, this is the user underscore username, right? So what we then do with that is we then want to margin left that 0.8 Ms. We want to give it a color of light gray. We want to give that a color of light gray. Hold on, what did I grab right now? What did I grab? Oh, I placed this in the input field. Tick. Didn't I just? Yeah, I'm realizing right now that I placed this thing in the wrong. What just happened there? I'm sorry about that. I thought I copied this, to be honest. I legit thought I copied this. I thought I copied this class username user that. So what I wanted to do is on the margin left that 0.8 Ms and then give it a color of light gray, not light green, man, light gray. I thought this is what I did. So now we have that light gray, but then let's have it a bit darker-ish. Okay, so for that what I'll need is, let's say, UI color picker. So that will help me to get a nice gray. So those are the things that I use most of the times for my colors and everything. So what kind of gray will work? Let's say this one. Let's see, and I will put that like that, and then we have that gray, right, looking good by me. And then we have that user icon there, and then what's happening here is they have their contents on the left and I'm having it on the center. What is the difference? Do I see a need of doing what they did? Okay, I don't see a need of doing what they did. because what I believe that you should do in order to, if you guys are keen on how you would now take everything to the side where you want it to be, I think I'd say float left, and that is not working, right? But then most definitely you'd want to revisit your aligning of center, I think, because we have margin left and not margin left, so you'd want to revisit this, that, because we already have margin 0 of auto, which is already taking this box to the center. And then now it is the matter of we have a bit of some padding of the wall, right, as I can see there. So how we can do that is we say padding of 0.4 m's, and let's say 1 m, just to pad that out. And then there you go, we have that padding, right? And then what else that I'm thinking here is they have the thingies. Okay, so personally I will leave my things like that, but then now if I wanted to do something with this input field, I feel like it's good for me, this input field. But then there's obviously you could work around with if you wanted to remove everything, not everything obviously. Let's say you want to say border none. So yeah, you're removing everything within your input field, and then you have that like this, right? So obviously on your input field I can click here and I can still work, like literally click here, it still works. So anywhere that you click within this input field it should still work, right? So I could keep it like this and give it a bit of some font font weight of, let's say, 700 to have it a bit bold. So we have that a bit bold, there we go. So and then we can get that placeholder to be a bit bold as well. So what we do is we then paste that there, we do that, we remove that, we remove that. So here am I doing the things that I said I won't be doing, but that's fine. For you guys I'll definitely do that. Let's do like that, and then we have that font weight being a bit bolder, and that should be it, guys. Playing around, we played around with some CSS. We didn't actually fully copy what they did on Quora, we gave it our own flavor. Next video will be handling authentication. Once the users are authenticated, then this person can now can now add a message, not a message, but then a question here. They can add a question, and then we should have a button that will say submit. But then let's say we'll add that when we have authentication. That shouldn't be that much of a hassle. We can play around always with CSS, debug things that need to be debugged. And as always, please like, share and subscribe. It really does help me out and helps the channel out and keeps me motivated. So goodbye, see you guys in the next video.